So now getting back to software testing. So what is software testing? We have seen the definition of software testing. Now let's see a little more elaborate description of the software testing. So software testing means we are using a formal method which will help us in determining whether the software which is developed meets the expectations of the customer. Okay, so it is always contextual. So every software will not be able to meet all the expectations of all the customers. That is not possible. So that's why it is called, it is always contextual, meaning a lot of people develop e-commerce software. So if you go in the market, you will see that there are hundreds of e-commerce software, and they have been developed as per the expectations of their owners. So if you are part of a software company, they become your customers. But every e-commerce software, even though they have the same basic functionality of allowing you or some customer to buy products online, they differ in the way they present the information to you. They don't behave in the same manner. Why? Because the expectations of their owners were different. So accordingly, the softwares were developed differently. That also means that the testing will also happen different. Okay, so there is no software which can be developed saying that this has zero defects. It never works. Every software is tested again against the expectations of the customer. And where is that expectation stored or say, recorded? That expectation of a customer is recorded in a document called Software Requirement Specification Document. That is SRS. Okay, so SRS has the documentation of all the expectations of the customer, whether it's functional specification or it's a non-functional specification. Non-functional example is in terms of performance, how fast your web pages should be. So everything is listed there. So you as a software tester, when you are getting into software testing, you are going to do the functional testing part. There are performance testings which are conducted using a different method. That is a separate software testing stream, which is performance testing. So the tools are different. So there is a tool called JMeter or Load Runner. Load Runner is an HP product. So those tools are used for software performance testing. You will be doing functional testing, which will be done using Selenium or other software. Testing starts very early in the project. Testing in one way or the other, it starts right from the requirement gathering stage itself. Okay, different forms of testing is used at different phases of software development lifecycle. And what are the different phases? We have just seen that there's a requirement stage, there's a design stage, there's a coding stage, and then we reach at the testing. So there are various stages of a software project, and different stages will have different types of tests. Now, before we start anything, let's quickly have a look at an example. So let's look at this page. So this is a contact us page of TechCanvas, which has certain fields. So if somebody wants to contact us, they will go on this page and they will start entering this information: name, email ID, contact number, the subject, and the message. Because we also want, if somebody is contacting us, we also want to know why somebody is contacting us, so that we are able to answer them properly. Okay. Then there is a CAPTCHA also. That is, this is known as a CAPTCHA. Why this is put? Because somebody tries to play game with your website, they can create an automated process, just like you're using Selenium. Okay. So they can create automated script which will keep on feeding data. So if they send 1 million requests, my website will be down. Okay. So to avoid that, we put a CAPTCHA. CAPTCHA will not allow you to test it using Selenium. Okay. So machine requests will have to be prevented by all costs. Otherwise, there could be an attack. So now in this page, if let's say for example, you as a tester have been given this page saying that, okay, this page is ready now, please test it. Okay. So how will you test it? If somebody asks you how we are going to test this particular thing, what do you think?
To enter the
So give me an example. So what will you enter here? So in the name field, email ID field, what will you enter?
to enter the name, email ID.
Yeah, tell me. Don't worry. You can. Don't worry about
Uh,
whether you are right or wrong. Just tell me.
I have to enter my name and email ID and contact number and subject it is working or not.
Okay. And then you will enter data in all the fields and then submit, right?
Yeah.
And if it says that, okay, thanks for contacting us, or you get a message, that means the request have been submitted, right?
Yeah.
So how many times will you test it?
As much as if one time I
So for example, if you have put in your data and everything has worked fine, so what will you do next?
but I don't know the others email ID it's maybe working or not working. So I cannot test the others email ID because I don't know it is working or not.
No, suppose you have provided 10 email IDs,
Okay.
okay, with their passwords,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. Then what will you do?
I can test 10 times.
Okay. So you will, if you are given 10 email IDs with their passwords, you will test it 10 times, right?
Like,
Any other number of tests will you do?
I think we can do so many times.
No, so depending on how many email IDs you have, right?
Like,
Okay. So let's try and understand what kind of testings we should be doing. Okay.
yeah.
Now, what you have described to me is something called positive testing. Okay. That means whatever data you have got, okay, you will test with it, assuming that it is working. Okay. Software testing does not mean positive testing only. Software testing primarily deals with negative testing. Okay. It means that you need to test it with values which may not work and which will not work. So the idea is always to do negative testing. So negative testing means that you are trying to test systems using values which you feel will not work. That is called negative testing. So it's very important to understand when you are doing any form of testing, you are including negative testing in the whole testing approach. So for example, in this case, you see the name field first. Now, one of the important things which you need to check is that whether name field is accepting numbers, because all of us start thinking whether this is working or not. We should start thinking what are the cases in which it is not working. That is the sign of a good tester. So you will put numbers here to say whether it's working. You will put special characters here to check whether it's working or not. So what should happen if you put special characters? The system should give you an error saying that this is not a valid name. Okay. So that is an example. Then you will put invalid email IDs into that without an ampersand sign. Okay. This is an ampersand sign. Okay. And every email ID must have this. So whenever you are coming across an email ID field for testing, you should put something which does not have this ampersand sign and see whether your system is, otherwise what will happen? If somebody enters ABC in the email ID field without ampersand sign, and then it is sent to the, it is submitted, then it means that you are not entering a valid email ID field at all. So there is no way the customer or the person who is receiving the contact us message will be able to respond. Other thing, you can see there is a star mark in some of the fields, name, email ID, contact number, and so on. That means these are known as mandatory fields. Now, if you enter all the data in all the fields, obviously you are meeting the mandatory condition. But to check whether all of the conditions are really mandatory, so you can leave one field blank, for example, or any of the fields blank to see whether the system is accepting this blank value or not. Okay, that is another area of test. And finally, when the data will be submitted for saving, you need to make sure that it is saved properly. So how will you make sure that it is saved properly? There are multiple ways to do it. One, if there is a message which is presented by the system saying that thanks for submitting your request, we'll get back to you shortly. That system can have a behavior like this. Or you will receive an email on the email ID which you are entering, a thank you message saying that, okay, thanks for contacting us, we'll get back. In the Tech Canvas case, you will receive an email saying that thanks for submitting your request, we'll get back to you in next 24 hours. So that is the another behavior. So to ensure that you have this data is saved properly. Third method is you get back to a database, the tables, to check whether your name and information has been saved correctly or not. So there are various ways of ensuring that what you are testing, you are also doing a double check whether things have been working in the way you expect. Okay, all of that may come under the purview of a software test. Now let's get to a little more formal nomenclature of what we are just talking about. If the name field does not accept numbers, this is known as a field level validation. Okay, and when it is done at the when the page code has been completed and it has been developed completely. Email IDs are valid. Again, this is a field level validation. Again, it will be done once the page coding is done. If all the required fields are present, this is again a field level validation. And this will also happen once the page coding is complete. Finally, if the data is submitted for saving, it is saved properly. Now, this validation will happen, which is known as module level validation or a database level validation. You can go into the database and check whether the data is saved or not. This happens when all the parts of a module have been completed or not. Okay, so now you are coming to know about things like field level validation, module level validation, database level validation. These are the formal terms which are used in software parlance. There are stages here. Okay, so one stage is when the page is completed. Other stage is when a module is complete. So what is this page, unit, or module? Now let's look at to understand what is a page, what is a module, and how is it all connected. So this is a diagram which represents LinkedIn profile. Okay. Do you have an account on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you must be familiar with this diagram, right? So you can see that there are different menu options. So home, profile will have edit profile, who is video profile, your updates, my network, blah blah blah. These are all different menu options. So if you think of a module, you can think of this could be one of the modules. This could be another module. This could be another module. This could be another module. So module is just about a logical naming of similar group of items. Okay. So if something falls under profile, they're all grouped under profile module. Okay. Or it is represented, it could be represented as a menu option. Under that module, you have something called edit profile, who has viewed your profile, your updates. These are different pages, right? When you click on this, it opens one page. All of them will open an individual page. These are called pages, or we also call them units, right? So there are units, then there are modules. Now, this brings us to the topic of levels of testing. What are the different levels of testing in software? So we talked about units. So units is the smallest unit of a software application. Okay. So units or individual pages, once they are completed, there is a form of testing which is called, or there's a level of testing which is called unit test. Okay. So all the individual pages are tested, and that is known as unit testing. You combine together the units, and that becomes a module, as we have seen in profile, in jobs and all. So combination of units become modules. After the completion of the module, you will do a testing which is at the module level. We'll come to that to understand what is a module level testing. If a system has multiple modules, when all the modules are complete, it means that the system is ready. So that is at the top level. After that, you do system testing. Okay. And finally, when the system testing is completed, you give it to the customer for UAT, which is user acceptance. Okay. So this is how the levels of testing are stacked. So you first start with individual page level testing, then you go and do the module level testing, then you go and do the system level testing, and finally the customer conducts the acceptance testing. Okay. So this is how testing happens. Now, typically this unit level testing is conducted by developers. Okay. That is the first round of testing, but ultimately these testings might also come to professional testers. Like when you will be getting into testing, you might also be asked to do these kind of testing. So right from here till here, all these forms of testing will have to be done by you. However, this is just one part of the overall software testing. Software testing happens at every stage, right from the requirement stage itself. So as we have discussed about the different phases, so let's look at this. So there is first stage is requirement gathering, which results in the development of an SRS document. Okay. So you talk to the customer and you get the SRS. After the SRS is complete, what you do, you go and verify the document. Okay. Because at this stage, only the document is ready. There's no code to be executed. So the only form of testing which is possible is to go and read through the document and understand whether whatever has been mentioned is correct and appropriately written, and this is what customer wanted. So this is all is done at this stage. After that, you go and create design documents. Okay. Again, these are documents. There is no code written. So in that case also, you will just verify the document. Same process. And then finally, the coding stage comes. And then we have seen in the previous slide as to what happens after the code is written. You have multiple levels of testing there also. Now, just to understand the technical terms, this part is known as verification, and this part is known as validation. So this is known as validation. Okay, and this part is known as verification. But this, all of this comes under testing. Okay. Now the question is, would you be required to do this? Initial stages, no. You will only be involved here. This is done by typically the people who understand the functionality or people who understand the technical aspects of it. Okay. They are involved in verification at these stages. Okay. You will only be involved in doing the testings. Okay. As we discussed, the last stage is obviously the UAT part, which is done after the system is complete. So, but that is done by the customer, not. Any questions, Sangram?
Yeah. The level of testing, that is requirement gathering and design phase, that is SRS. What is it? SRS and HLD, LLD.
Yeah, this is a high level design document, low level design document. PS is program specification.
Or SRS?
System requirement specification. That is a document which will detail all the expectations or the requirements of the customer. Right? That is the document which forms the basis for all kinds of testing. Okay. So in a normal software development scenario, SRS, other name is sometimes used, which is functional specifications. Okay.
Functional
specifications document. So
okay.
Sometimes you call it an FS.
Okay, I want to know the validation. You just told me about the validation, field level validation and model level validation. That is how the which one is going to field level validation and which one goes to model level validation.
Meaning? I didn't get your question.
The last you just told me about field level validation and model level validation. And that means I have to tell the validation that which one is going to field level validation and which one belongs to model level validation.
We'll come to that. So we have seen the example of field level validation. Okay. Just hold on.